Yes, it started. All right. Hello. It's just 7 a.m. for me, but I assume it's 5.
It's 4 p.m. Yeah, it's 4 p.m.
4 p.m. for you. Okay. Yeah, the time zone conversion is still a little rough. But every time I have one of these events, I ask people for like where they're from, and then I try to guess the time. Most of the time it's accurate, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for coming in. I'm so excited to share all of Adeniyi's advice. Maybe while you're all filing in here, you can put in the chat where you're calling in from, and then I'll try to guess what time it is for you. So Adeniyi, you're from Lagos, so
yeah, Lagos, Nigeria.
4 p.m. I'm calling from Vancouver, BC, and it's 7 a.m. Actually, I think 7 a.m. used to be like 3 p.m. for you, but it changed because we had daylight savings. Do you have daylight savings in Nigeria? Oh, so lucky. It messes up my sleep every time. Okay, does the chat work for everyone? Feel free to put down where you're calling in from in the chat as we wait for more people to file in. Maybe the chat does not work for people, and that's why they're raising their hands. Okay, that's okay. I can see how to enable the chat for everyone. I'm not sure how to do that, but that's okay. You can just ask questions in the Q&A. There is a Q&A box. I see some of you have already found it and let me know that the chat isn't working. So thank you for that. But the point of this event is usually Q&A anyway. So feel free to put it in, like ask your questions in the Q&A box. I'm not sure why chat isn't working, but sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so Adeniyi actually has to go in like 40 minutes. So I'm just going to quickly get it started. And hopefully you'll get a lot of your questions answered. Okay. Ooh, I see somebody's from Ottawa from the Q&A. Thanks for using the Q&A instead of the chat. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now and do a quick introduction. So a lot of you probably already know about entry level. We basically help you learn and get experience so that you can get hired. Oh, we actually released product management level 2. So if you go to our website, you can start enrolling in product management level 2 right now. Before we start, I do have a poll for you guys. So it's asking about your level of experience in tech. It should pop up on your screen right now and you can vote. Okay, so it looks like so far most people have taken a few courses. I'll share the results as well, so Adeniyi, you can see it. I don't know if you can see the results right now, but I'll share them so everyone can see. Okay.
I think I closed it by mistake.
That's okay. I'll share the results once everyone has voted. It looks like most people have already taken a few courses, few tech courses, but also a lot of them are complete beginners. And a lucky few has had an internship or a job in tech. That's amazing. Okay, I'm ending the poll now. Can you see the results?
Yeah, I can. So took a few courses, internship, and complete beginner. So we have a few courses ranking more, followed by beginners and internship for job in tech. Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty much an even split, which is interesting. I expected most people to be complete beginner, but that wasn't the case. So that's pretty cool. All right, so just the agenda for today, like I said, it's mostly going to be Q&A. Adeniyi is going to share all of his wisdom. It's going to be really interesting. I look forward to it very much. And then you'll get the chance to ask your questions. You have to use the Q&A function to ask it because the chat is not working. I'm not sure why, but then we'll see your question if you put it in the Q&A box. The Q&A box is like on the bottom where the chat and like the mute button is. If you see it, you can just click on that and type in your question. So before we start, please be respectful. No inappropriate questions, please. And unfortunately, we are not able to see or hear you, but I see some of you already like raised your hands, but we'll probably only save that kind of engagement for the end, just in the interest of time. So if you have a question that you want addressed and we have no other questions popping up in the Q&A, we can call on you and then you can unmute to ask. Just another notice that if you're interested in product design or UX design, we do have another event coming up and you can find it at entrylevel.net/events. And I'll put that link in the chat in a bit. But in the meantime, I'm going to let Adeniyi introduce himself. So you can go ahead.
All right. I really wish I could see everyone on the call, but I can only see their name. I can see their videos on. But I mean, that's fine. So my name is Adeniyi Babajide. I'm a product manager, and as I've just been a product manager, I'm a data analyst, and also a venture builder. And what that means is I help entrepreneurs that have ideas go from just the idea stage up onto building a sustainable and scalable business. I'm based out of Lagos, Nigeria, and I've had the opportunity to build product across 4 to 5 different countries. So Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, in the US, and also in the UK, and I work remotely. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Wait, did you say like 40 plus different countries?
4 different countries. 5 actually.
5. That's still a lot. Oh my gosh. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah. Actually, I have a question for you. I'm sure many of us will want to know as well. What was your story? Like, how did you get into data and product?
All right, so unlike every other person, I have like a very interesting story. I tend to call it interesting. So when I started out my career, I was working in a startup, and because it was in a startup, they would tell you that startup requires you wearing multiple hats. So I was doing operations, I was doing sales, I was doing marketing, I was doing products, and I was also doing tech support. And I'm going to go to network events or talk to my friends. And this guy tells me, okay, I'm doing product design. This tells me I'm doing product management, I'm doing program management. And if you ask me, I can't tell you anything because I'm the guy that does everything in the company. So I didn't like that fact. I wanted to be known for something. Even though I like all of the experience that I had, I wanted to be known for just one thing, and I want to build on that. So I got into data. So then there was this buzz about data being the new oil everywhere. I did a lot of research. I attended a lot of master classes. I took a lot of videos and all of that. So I decided that, you know what, it was going to be data for me. So I tried programming, but it wasn't just connecting. Like it's something that I just want to do for the money, but I didn't want something that I want to do for the money. I want something that I can do and I can be happy doing it, right? So that was how my journey into data started. And it went from there. It was very, very interesting. And I made a lot of noise about data that even people that were not in tech knew I was a data analyst. And that was how I made it ring a bell. And people would be like, oh, that guy's a data analyst. They don't care what kind of data. They just tell you, go and talk to Adeniyi. He's a data analyst. He's going to tell you whatever it is that you need to know. So I did pretty well in data, and from data, right, COVID came and I couldn't go to the office. Then I was not working remotely. I would normally go to the office. So COVID came, I couldn't go to the office. All of the data that was needed for me to analyze were not coming in, and that was because people that are supposed to be getting me this data were not going to the office, or they were not going to work as well. So I said, you know what, I think it's time for me to move. And I considered product design, but again, I have a good eye for design, but I don't think it's something that I want to do, like having to go around Figma, add up XD and all of that. So I ventured into product management, and I loved it. And that was when I realized that, okay, you know what, I've been a product manager all my life. It's just that I've not been intentional about it, or I've not been following the frameworks and methodologies of a product manager. And right from there, it's been very, very awesome. My experience in data, having to make decisions, data-driven decisions, having to use all of the methodologies I use in data analytics has also really helped my career as a product manager.
Wow, I love what you said about how you were like everything, because that's the way it is with startups. I know it's not for everyone. So who would you recommend go into startups versus like another type of company?
So if you're someone that is looking to, if you're someone that likes new challenge, you don't want to do things in the conventional way. You want to be able to like learn fast, experiment very fast, and make decisions very fast. I recommend you go to startup. But if you're just someone that wants to sit one place and just do the same thing all over and all over again, having to reinvent the wheel, then you can try the other conventional workspace. I actually tried it for 6 months. So I was trying to make a decision. Should I continue being a startup, or I want to try the other conventional workspaces? And I did it for 3 months. I couldn't survive it. And one, there was leadership issues, there were culture issues. And before I'm going to consider joining a company, regardless of how much you're going to pay me, I want to be sure that you have a very good culture, because with the culture, and I can survive, I can do a lot of stuff. So I just like, you know what, I did it for 6 months and I had to resign, and I went back to my startups.
That's such a good point. Culture is also what I look for, because you're going to be spending a lot of your time at work, right? So if it's a bad
Right.
environment, it's really bad for your mental health.
Definitely.
Awesome. So now I want to ask about like product and data. So do you find that knowing both has helped you stand out, and how?
Yeah, it has really helped me. And that's because if you're going to be building product right, you need to be able to make a lot of decisions. You're making the decisions that can either ruin a company or make a company successful. And you don't want to make all of the decisions based on assumptions. You want to have your fact right. And how do you have your fact right is having to make decisions, data-driven decisions, based on what the market are saying, based on what the business is saying, and based on what the customers are also saying. And we've also seen there are a lot of stuff that I learned while I was a data analyst. So having to like ensure data integrity, making decisions, making data accessible to everyone. And what that has also helped me do in my product experience is that if a stakeholder comes to me to say, let's do this and let's do this, if you don't have the data to prove it to me, we're not doing it. Just keep the idea. It's not going to happen. And that was because I had the data experience. I've been able to like make decisions, and I've seen these decisions turn to fruitful results as a result of that. So if I'm still going to continue that, whatever decision I have to make, even in my personal life, it has to be data driven as well. If not, it's not going to happen.
Wow, that's such a good point, because often you have to work in an environment with a lot of other people, and then you have to like kind of convince them of your ideas, and data helps there. Awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. I do see a few questions in the Q&A box. I'm going to ask them in order. So somebody is asking about a roadmap and like how you get started, because this person is studying computer science, interested in product management. Like, what do you put in your resume? How do you get experience? Basically, like, how do you even get started?
So getting started, right? Because of the dynamics of the role, it's important that you have experience, because someone is trusting you with the career of their company. Every tech startup that exists because they have a product and they're giving you the leadership of that product. So whatever it is that you do can break or make the company successful. So it's important that you get experience. And while I was starting my career, I didn't consider the money first, or I didn't consider the money or whatever luxury that comes with it. What I had to do was I took a lot of unpaid opportunities. I volunteered with a lot of people just to get this experience and prove to employers that are going to pay me that, you know what, I've paid my dues, I've learned everything in class, and I have practical experience. And that's how I was able to get started. in product, because if you don't have the experience, sincerely, it's going to be a difficult situation getting a paid opportunity.
Where did you find these volunteer opportunities?
So for the volunteer opportunities, I talked to a lot of people, a lot of people actually, and also in the company that I work with, I also like talk to the product guys. You know what? I just want to learn from you. Use me to do whatever it is you want to do. As long as I'm learning from you, I'm okay with it. And I also have like ideas that I have that, like all of those, some problems that I had that I believe tech could help me solve. So I also started putting in all of what I've learned in class into use.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I would say asking, even just like asking whoever if you want to shadow them or like getting mentorship could be very useful. I know some companies, if you ask to volunteer with them, they might not do it because it takes time to manage people, right? So do you have any tips about reaching out to get these volunteer opportunities or mentors?
Yeah, so for that, so thank you for also mentioning mentorship. So I used to say, if I'd had access to mentors like I have today, maybe I would have been in a better position. But I didn't have that, and that was because I was ignorant of that. And in my free time today, I spend it mentoring product managers and also product designers as well. So no one wants to come to you because you're coming as a pest. Before you can get something for anybody, if it's going to be a company or a mentor, you have to be sure that you can offer value, because without value, it has to be a shared value relationship. So I can't be offering value as a mentor and you're not offering value as a mentee. And same thing applies to if you're reaching out to, say, tech founders on LinkedIn and you say, you know what, I'm just starting my product. Hi, Jennifer, my name is Adeniyi. I'm just starting my product career and I'm looking for internship opportunities. Yeah, I know you're looking for internship opportunities, but the question you should ask yourself is, how are you going to help my company grow as an intern? So you have to be able to sell value and not just saying, okay, I went to product school, I did a product management course and they taught me how to do road mapping. They taught me how to write user stories. They taught me how to use Jira. How will that help me? So don't come and sell features, come to sell value. And anybody in their senses would definitely read that and they'll give you a listening ear. But you just reaching out and say, come and help me, I need an internship opportunity. Your message might just be there unread.
I love that point because that's not something I hear very often. Like you or the mentee also should give value to the mentor. It's not a one-way relationship. I think what worked for a lot of people is not just like helping them solve a problem that they have, but sometimes they don't even know what problem they have. But like as a product manager, you need to like put your research skills and your product sense to work to like identify and research what the problems are and then offer a solution. So
Definitely. And just also build on that, I'd also given a mentee of mine this same idea. And what it did was, so he saw that the product was lacking, like the product was suffering in the market and users kept on complaining. And what they did was, it did a product audit and it published it on Twitter, having to sort of shade the company. So he wasn't promoting the company, rather he was pointing out what they were not doing right and trying to condemn them. I'm like, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be selling this to the employer and telling him or her how you're going to come solve this problem and not just putting it out there to condemn the company more. If I was to be the founder, in fact, I'll make sure you don't succeed.
yeah, thanks so much for sharing. I did write up a quick summary of everything that you just said, so it will be in the Q&A box under answered. Entry level also has a free product management job search workbook, so whoever asked this question, feel free to download that workbook. But in the meantime, I'm going to move on to the other questions. So some people are asking for more details about using data to make a decision with if the product is like starting from scratch or if you don't have a lot of experience. So how do you start with making use of that data?
So if the product is just starting from scratch, your data is primarily having to talk to users, getting feedback, regular feedback, because at that stage, you're still trying to you're still trying to achieve problem solution fit. And for you to get that, you need to be able to ensure that your product is solving your product, which is the solution, is solving the problem that you said is going to solve. And how do you achieve that? You talk to customers, you talk to your users, you talk to your stakeholders regularly. So you find yourself interacting a lot with the customer success team, getting feedback from them, the marketing team, what are our customers saying about our product? So this is going to guide the decision you're going to make. It's not until when you have to like create survey to ask for feedback. So these are things that it's not just having to get survey that makes you a data-driven product manager. It's all of these things, having to get feedback to make decisions that makes you, that's how you're able to manage data and also product together.
Oh, so is that the experience you were talking about that you got in volunteer, like where you interviewed users, or did you get experience in something else?
Do you want to rephrase that?
Yeah, so the experience that you got through the volunteer opportunities, what kind of experience was it? Like, what kind of tasks did you do that really helped you get the job?
So during all of this voluntary experience, I wrote a lot of documentations. And I also learned how to manage stakeholders. But as you start your product career or even your data career, you see scenarios where you have to interact with a lot of stakeholders, because if you're going to be a data analyst, you definitely have reports or insights you want to present to your top management, and you're going to have a lot of stakeholders asking you questions. And these people just want to ensure that you know what you're doing. They're going to ask you some questions and you'll be like, you shouldn't be asking me this question, but that's not it. You just want to be sure that you know what you're talking about, and you're not just coming to show some numbers to them. Same thing applies to product. You're going to interact with a lot of stakeholders. Imagine your CEO or your founder, they have investors that they need to report to. You have the marketing team selling something else to the users. You have the sales team that is selling something that you've completely not built at all to the users. And if the users decide to say, you know what, we're going to pay for this feature, they're coming to put pressure on you. So it's very important that you know how to manage your stakeholders. And these are all of the things that I got to learn in my voluntary experience. And these are also the things that also gave me an unfair advantage when I was applying for paid opportunities.
Oh, that's so interesting. I love what you said about documentation, because that's something I found very helpful as well, even just when working on a portfolio. But managing stakeholders, that's a very interesting one. So do you think managing stakeholders, like how would you develop that skill if the volunteer opportunities aren't working out? Because it's not something you can learn in a course, right?
Yeah, definitely. So managing stakeholders has to do with your emotional intelligence and your people skills. You know when to ask the right questions, you know when to react and also when to respond. So that's just pretty much it about managing stakeholders. And you also want to load your stakeholders with a lot of information. So load them with a lot of information so they don't come to you to ask you questions.
Mm-hmm.
And not just loading them with a lot of information, ensure that this information are data driven. There are things that they can see, and there are things that they can see, and if at any point they come back to you and say, let's do this, you're letting them know that this is what the data is showing. If we go this route, this is the result. If we go this route, this is what the result is going to be, and have them make the decision by themselves. But what you've been able to achieve is you've been able to give them a lot of data and also giving them ideas on how to make the right decision. So if they choose to go with the wrong decision, that's not on you anymore and you have a job. But in a case where you don't give them all of this information and they make wrong decisions as a result of you not giving them enough data, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day, because everything's going to fall back on you.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like as a product manager, you're kind of like responsible, even if something's not your fault, like you're responsible. So if everything goes
Jesus
well,
Christ.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad because if things go well, then the credit goes to your team. But if things go wrong, then you take the blame. Is that
That's
true?
why you manage, it's leadership. Yeah.
I guess it's something our future product managers can look forward to. Just a few more questions in the chat here. Somebody
All right.
is asking about the skills that a product manager needs, as well as like what your day is like in like as a product manager. So maybe we can combine those questions and tell me a day in your life and what skills you would use for your day-to-day tasks.
Right. So I'll start with a day in my life. So definitely wake up, perform my morning rituals, and I plan my day. So I plan my week on Sundays, which I'm not working. So for everything I'm going to do all through the week, I already have it like on my to-do list. So first off is having to like do a brain dump on my jotter, and I break all of those into like daily tasks. And when I wake up in the morning, the day before going to bed the previous day, I already know what I'm going to be doing the next day. So I'm not waking up on that very day and having to like rack my head on what I should be doing. Right. So I have my stand-up with my team. So as a product manager, you're also a project manager. So you have to check in with your team. And on the stand-up call is mostly a 10-15 minute call, having to get update on what's on their progress, on their plans, and any blockers. So you don't want your product team having any blocker or any challenges impairing their productivity. So it's also your job to get out of the way, because if you don't do that, it's going to affect what you're supposed to be shipping, and it's also going to affect your product roadmap, and you'll be able to meet the deadlines you've communicated to your stakeholders. So I look at those. I look at reports from the CS team, the marketing team, just like bring myself up to speed. If I need to plan, if I need to prepare any documentations, I also do that. I look at my user stories, and I also, what should I call it? I also plan the sprint. So I run a 2-week sprint. So 2 weeks being that for these 2 weeks, this is what we're building and this is what we're shipping. So as I'm on that, as we're building that, or as the sprint is in progress, I'm also planning what the next sprint is going to be. And this is where prioritization also comes into play. I have to be able to prioritize, so I'm able to meet all stakeholders' requirements as well. And I have like different tools for this. So I also check in my calendars to see meetings that I might be having as well. Yeah.
Okay, so it kind of sounds like you use communication skills, documentation, and like stakeholder management. Is there any other skills that you use?
I mean, those are just like the major ones, because you get to interact with people on a daily basis.
Okay. Yeah, I think any management role, you have to talk to a lot of people. So hopefully all the aspiring product managers here love talking to people. Actually, I'm curious, would you say you're an extrovert or introvert? Because you're talking to people all day.
I'm an introvert actually, but in product, no one cares. You just have to get the job done.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm sure there's lots of different types of product managers, from extroverts to introverts. Okay, so we do have another question. Actually, a lot of these questions are about like how to get a job, how to get started. So let's say if you when did you get your job? Like a few years ago?
Yeah, that was on 2017.
2017. Okay, so if you could go back to your 2017 self or like 2016 self, what advice would you like? What next steps would you give yourself?
So if I'm going to go back, one is to get a very strong support system, and that's talking about mentors, because despite having to build successful product, I've also built product that also failed, and those failures were productive failures because I failed forward, and and I've also get like, it's not just about what you were taught in class, it's about how you're able to make use of it. That also matters. So I've had a lot of lectures in class, but I was not making use of it. And I just believe it was what I was taught in class, that's what I'm going to do on the job. That's not always the case. And like, that's not always the case generally. So if I was to go back to myself, it's going to be having to, as I'm learning and practicing, not having to like get a product, complete the product course for like 3 months, and I just go to sleep until I get a job. Like immediately for my very first day in class, if you're going to be teaching me design thinking in class today, as I'm getting home or after that lecture, I'm ensuring that I'm practicing design thinking.
Okay, so practicing design thinking, you said?
So practicing everything you've been taught in class, basically, having to put it into use. So either you're volunteering or either you are building your own personal portfolio.
Okay, yeah, portfolio is super important. Thank you for sharing. Sorry, I have to like promote entry level here because we literally have a portfolio component built into our courses. So if you guys are interested in that, we can guide you through it. I think I have just time for one more question. Somebody has their hand raised, so I'm going to allow them to talk. Shinoma?
It's
Hello.
Chioma.
Chioma. Hi. If you can ask your question now, feel free to do so. I can also read it out for you, Chioma, if you want. I don't know if you can unmute. Okay, I will just read it out for you. So Chioma has experience in another industry actually called customer service, but we have people in the audience with experience in marketing and software, like coding. So how do these people transition into product management if they're from a completely different field than data and product?
All right. So we've seen, I've seen a lot of people transition from customer success into product management. And I'd say that's more like a very good entry point into product. And that's because you've had first time experience interacting with a lot of customers, and product also means that you need to interact with a lot of customers. So you just need to find your way and transition gradually. And I'd also tell people it's also how you're able to tell your story that matters. So if you've been in customer success and you've attended product class, how are you able to match what your experience as a customer success to what a product manager does to your interviewer or to your hiring manager? Same thing applies to the marketing guys. You're marketing a product. So how are you able to marry your marketing to a product, to your marketing manager, and adding value to that? So how did you add value in the capacity of a customer success in the product that your customers were complaining about? How did you resolve their issue? What did you learn? And how would you bring that into product management? So it also goes into how you're able to tell your story. And that's selling value and not features again.
That's a really good point, because I feel like every team impacts the product in some way, and you just have to bring out that aspect.
Definitely.
Awesome. Just a quick question. What is a CS team? You mentioned it earlier. Just wanted to get clarification.
Yeah, that's customer success.
Oh, okay. So like the support team?
Yeah, customer support. Okay. Customer success team, customer service team, all of that.
Oh, wow. They must do, like, that's the best way to transition because you talk to the users so much. So
yeah, I mean, that's the first entry point for a customer to reach out to the company.
That's awesome. Okay, I see some other raised hands. I'm going to call on, ooh, we have like 7 minutes left. Do you have time to answer this one person's question or?
Sure, I can.
Okay, let's see. Hello, SN Agbeli. Am I pronouncing that right? Hello, are you able to unmute to ask?
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's nice meeting you. I hear about your journey and the rest. So I was asking you the question that if one wants to shadow you, that how is that possible to shadow you? Actually took a course with entry level about 2 months ago, and I was lucky to get into internship with HNG. It's managed by Mark SN.
Yeah,
so it's been it's been a great ride, and I've been learning a lot. So I'm not like, okay, I wouldn't like it to stop there. And I'm thinking it should be an opportunity to speak with a senior colleague with entry level. So
sure.
The question is, how does one shadow you if one wants to shadow you?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. And like I mentioned, my free time, I spend my free time mentoring product managers across 7 countries today.
Oh,
So Jennifer can coordinate that, and we can definitely work something out.
Yeah.
all right. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I also believe I sent Adeniyi's LinkedIn somewhere, but I will include it in the email with the recording to everyone, so don't worry. There's also this platform called ADP List. Wait, Adeniyi, are you on ADP List?
Yeah, I'm a mentor on ADP List.
Okay, wait, can I just link your ADP List mentorship page, and then if people want, they can book a meeting?
Yeah, sure. I actually have a link somewhere on my LinkedIn, but I'll see how I can share the link
found
to
you.
you.
Okay, I
ADP,
found
right?
you on ADP List. Yes.
All
So
right, good.
you have a very unique name, I think. So it was very easy to find you on there. Oh, there's so many people with my name.
It's user
so-
experience. It's user experience. You get to learn it in products.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I linked everything in the chat, but I will also email it out to everyone along with Adeniyi's LinkedIn. Please leave a note that you're from this event, because otherwise I'm sure you get lots of requests. So I need a way to filter through that. Yeah, thank you so much, Adeniyi. If you have to go, feel free to go, but I'm just gonna wrap up everything here by doing a poll. So Adeniyi, you can stay if you want to see how people found the event. It's just a question: how would you rate the event? It's like the options are terrible, slightly bad, neutral, slightly good, and great. So feel free to put your feedback there. I'm sorry, I wish we had more time and more chat engagement, but I still think the advice was very valuable. I'm biased because my main takeaway was have good documentation, but I love documentation. So I don't know. What was your main takeaway, Adeniyi?
My main takeaway is talking to users, actually.
Yes, talk to users.
So there is something in product. In as much as you're trying to build what your customer wants, it's not everything that your customer wants that you're going to build. Because if you build it, you're shooting yourself on the foot. If you build everything that your customer wants, so you should find a balance between their want and their need, and you can only do that by asking the right questions and talking to your users.
Yeah, I agree. So many times people have said, oh, I would pay for this product, but then when it comes to pay for it, they just don't. So you have to like dig in deeper and ask why a bunch of times.
They're not paying anything.
Yeah.
They're just trying to let you, they're just telling you what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. So get practice interviewing users, surveying users, talking to them. You can do that through our product management course or our UX design course, or even just on your own. So I'm going to share the results. As you can see, no worries. 73% of people said that it was good, and then the rest was like slightly good or neutral. So thank you so much, Adeniyi, for sharing your wisdom with us. I know you do have another meeting in like 2 minutes, so we'll end it here, but I will be emailing out all the resources, and you can reply to that email with any more questions you have, and I'll try my best to answer them. Or if you want a faster response, you can email me at jennifer@entrylevel.net, and I can send you other resources. Okay, wow, I can't believe we wrapped up on time. Thank you so much, Adeniyi. I will chat with you later. Bye, everyone.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.